So folks, we're back on our downstairs toilet cum utility room project as part of our self-build extension. Last time we were fitting all of the waste pipes, and today I think it's time to actually start getting some plasterboard on walls. So I'll just show you where we're up to. If you're new to this project, then don't forget to hit subscribe, and you can go back to the beginning of this little mini-series about creating this downstairs toilet cum utility room. In part 1 we did all of the planning, part 2 we built the stud walls, part 3 we did the knock through for all the waste pipe work, part 4 we actually installed the waste pipe work. And now we're kind of up to the point where we need to start getting some plasterboard on the walls because we're getting a bit stuck. We can't do much more until the plasterboard's there, because one of the main reasons we can't put, if you remember, we're putting a false wall at the back here, and if I put a false wall here, kind of, if you can see my hand, so if a wall goes there, we can no longer get to that stud. So we've got to get the plasterboard on this side wall here before I can build the false wall at the back. Anyway, you can see the mortar's all dried out really nicely. Our Sparky's been in and put all the first fix cabling in. The wiring's going to be dead straightforward. There's just basically going to be a fan isolator switch at the top there, and then we're just going to have a manual switch for the fan somewhere down this wall. And because we're using remote kinetic light switches, we can literally stick them anywhere. So these are the kinetic switches that we're using, and they are amazing. And because there's no wires going to them, we can have it inside the toilet. There's no risk of electric shock or anything like that. So we can put the light switch like there, or wherever we want really. We can just shove that on the wall and hey presto, lights are done. We took all of that into account much earlier on in the build, so all the wiring is pretty much in for that. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a bit more detail, along with the ventilation and building regs requirements and stuff like that in a later episode, because there's quite a lot to cover there. Also, on the garage side, you can see we've tidied up all around the ventilation extraction point there. We might have to cut that back a little bit, but we've just left it long at the moment. All painted, all looking neat and tidy. We've painted behind the soil pipe at the bottom as well, so that's all done. The inline extractor is sitting there ready to go, but as I say, we'll do all of the ventilation in a later episode. And I've also installed the vent cover just on the other side of the wall, just to stop any rain and stuff coming in. So the next job is to install all of this plasterboard, and that gets that out the road. So we've got 6 sheets there, and we've got kind of a broken piece there as well. So that should be more than enough. We're going to need one piece here that'll be like a big upside down L shape. Need a little bit down there, almost a full sheet going down there, and then the same on the inside as well, and then we'll need pretty much a full sheet on this back wall, and that should use pretty much everything up. What I'm going to do is start on the outside top corner here. The reason being, because if I can get this sheet on, then I can do the cutout for the isolator at the top, poke the wires through from the other side, and then I don't have to worry about fishing wires and things like that. And then once the outside's all plasterboarded, we can work on the inside. So yeah, time to crack on. Right, we are motoring. That is the plasterboarding more or less done. Haven't done the back wall yet. Got so much leftover plasterboard. Plus we've got that full sheet left over for the back wall as well. All went more or less smoothly. As you can see, we've got the join at the bottom there, if you can make it out. And I've shoved the back boxes in there, ready for our Sparky to do the set and fix on all that stuff. But sadly, there was just one little bit of damage. A bit gutted about that actually. That's quite a big gap. I screwed the board to the wall. It must have got caught on something that just blew the whole side of the board out. And when that happens, it's pointless trying to like skim over a massive like bump like that. So I've just had to cut it out and we'll fill it. It'll be fine. Anyway, so I'm now starting to think about marking out for the boxing and everything that we need up there. I know I said that we weren't really going to talk about ventilation today, but I need to get this bit done, so I'll show you what I'm going to be doing. Basically, a T-piece is going to go on here, and then we'll have a little bit of rigid ducting going through the wall there with just a vent cover on the other side, and then we'll just run some flexi off this through a hole in the boxing to a little vent cover on this side. As I say, we'll talk about the ventilation in a lot more detail, probably maybe in the next episode, we shall see. But what I need to do now is just drill a 100mm hole through the wall there. All the places to put them in. There we go, that's done. As I say, that'll all get boxed in, but it's easier to put that bit of pipe in now. And then I need to have a little bit of a ponder about how we're going to run the plumbing here, because obviously we need to get a cold water inlet for the loo itself, which is around that blue mark. And we need to get a hot and cold from the supplies over on the right here, over at the hand wash basin. So that needs to kind of follow it along here, preferably inside the boxing that the waste pipe's going to be in. The problem that I've got is that, unfortunately, when they've put the gas supply in, he's put it so close to that joint. There's no way I can get like a T-piece in or anything like that. So that's a bit of a pain in the backside. So yeah, I'm going to have a little bit of a ponder about that. Anyway, in the meantime, I think we're up to the stage where we can start ripping the timbers that are going to go down this edge to support the false wall at the back. About the widest bit of pipework we're going to have to accommodate is going to be around 50mm or thereabouts. So I think 50mm rips for that. And you'll see what I mean over on the left hand side. If I'd already fitted those battens, we wouldn't have been able to get in to screw that bit of plasterboard to that end stud. So we're now in a position that we can get that done. And the nice thing is that all the leftover bits of ripped material, I can use all that wood for making the boxing. It's not the best blade in the world, that, for doing rip cuts, but it's fine. I'm not changing the blade just for 2 cuts. But that'll get us going on the back battens, and as I say, we've got all these leftover bits here that we can use for the boxing. So they're all cut to the right size, but I'm not sure if you can see. Oh man, this back wall is so far out of plumb. Look at that. It's probably an inch out from top to bottom. Basically, there's a big bow in the wall in the middle there. So what I'm tempted to do actually is attach this into the side wall instead. It'll be a little bit difficult getting the drill in past these pipes. That's the only slightly awkward thing about doing it that way. Or I could scribe out the back of this around the bump in the wall. That's a bit of a pain in the backside, but limited options here, to be honest. The other side's nice and easy. It's this side that's okay. Again, I'll give that some thought. And I've cut this bit of timber here for the boxing at the bottom, which is going to box in the waste pipe, and that's going to double up as a support for the waste pipe as well. You'll see what I mean when we get onto that. So I'll quickly chop up the remaining bits of wood to go at the top there, and then I think we're going to call it a day because it's getting a bit late and I don't want to be doing SDS drilling and disturbing the neighbours. Oh, and one other thing, while I've got the table saw out, because it's a bit of a pain in the neck getting the table saw out, I'll rip the door liner to the correct size now. So we're not going for a full skim this time, we're just going to tape and joint the plasterboard because it's such a small space. I can probably do that myself. So that means the door liner needs to basically be exactly this width here from that side of the plasterboard to that side. So we've got exactly 114 millimeters across there. Blade doesn't need to be anywhere near that high for this. 1, 1, 4. It's kind of now that we'll find out how straight this door liner is from wicks. It's always a bit hit and miss, unfortunately. That one's not bad. That one's a bit bent, but okay, we can work with it. Ugh. Now, these door jambs look exactly like every other piece of wood in my workshop, so I'm just going to put a J on all of them, just so I remember not to use them for something else. But hopefully you can see that's ready to rock. We're perfectly flush there, and we are perfectly flush there. So I can go ahead and assemble the door liner. I'm not going to do that today because we've done plenty for one day. So I'm quite pleased with that. Decent day's work there. We have got all of the plasterboarding done. We've got the electrical back boxes in, ready for the electrician to do his set and fix stuff. We've got the duct work in for the utility extractor. We've got everything marked out for all of the internal boxing at the top there. We've got the battens ripped down for the back panel. We've got this support cut ready to fit. We've got the door liner ripped to the correct size, and we've got all of these pieces ripped for making all the framework for the boxing as well. So let's take a quick look at what we're going to be doing next time. And don't forget to hit subscribe, by the way, so you don't miss any of this. Looks like a whole lot of fun, I'm sure you'll agree. I'm not going to put the table saw away quite yet because you guarantee that if I do put it away, we're going to end up needing it for something. So I'll leave it out for the minute. And as I say, in the meantime, I need to have a little ponder about how we're going to route all the pipe work for the supply plumbing. In the meantime, I think one of the jobs that we are going to have to get done next time is getting the waste plumbing in for the basin, because it's easier then to kind of thread your smaller pipes around the bigger pipes rather than the other way around. So if we can get that waste pipe in, then hopefully it'll become a little bit more clear how I can run the supply pipe work, but we're not at that stage yet, so that's fine. Folks, as per usual, any questions, any comments, anything like that, pop it down below. For now, look after each other, be nice to each other, and we shall see you next time. Tatty bye.